morning. Now, I gave us a quick brief for this class that I was going to do some chair yoga, and I think if my memory serves me correctly, I mentioned it on last Sunday when we were doing like our little check-in for the week that was going to come about. So if you don't have a chair, go and find one, otherwise you probably won't be able to do this class. Chair options that you might choose. I would definitely say not a handled chair, okay, so not an armchair. For example, so these are the chairs that we have in the studio. So you could have like an outdoorsy kind of chair that might fold out, because these are just like a fold away chair. You could have your dining chair, as long as it's got legs that you can probably grab hold of, and a flattish kind of seat, but not, as I said, not an armchair, because it will restrict our movement. But I'm just looking at like my sort of dining chairs are pretty good. The one that I did before was more like the other couple of weeks ago I did one, and it was more of one of our, like a decorative. It was a decorative chair. So if you've got a chair that you can use, fantastic. I've got it butted up against the wall because I will eventually have us in a position where we want to make sure that the chair is supportive and like it's not going to sort of slide away from us. I've also chosen 2 mats. I'm not saying that you have to, because you can jiggle yours around pretty quickly, and it won't matter that you make noise. Whereas for me, I'm just going to make sure that I don't rub the legs on the floor and it makes like a screeching noise for you. Because eventually we will do some like warrior kind of poses where we would use, try to use or access the mat. I've also, just for safety, put like a little, these are my portable mats, so my travel mat up against the back, in case you have a really precious wall that you don't want your chair to rub up against. So here's where we're going to start, on the floor. This one is actually, this pose is called, and this is how we'll do pranayama. The pose is called Instant Maui. It actually comes from restorative practice. It comes from a practice that I learnt from Judith Hanson-Lassiter, where she was my teacher for my restorative training. And this one is like legs up the wall, but it's a half version, and it's really beautiful and relaxing. I'm bringing us here for pranayama, but I'm also suggesting to us that if we would like to use it for shavasana, for our last pose of the day, you could also do it as well. Okay, so you can see that my legs are well supported. If they weren't, I could always bring my bolster in and put my bolster underneath my legs, or even a soft pillow. Knees are stacked over the hips, or thereabouts. In other words, my knees aren't in towards my chest. And because my feet can go through this chair, my actual soles of the feet are just rested up against the wall here. And if you ever wanted to get a chair like this, they're from Kmart, and because we have like 20 of them in the studio, and they're about all of, I think the maximum they are is $10. Something makes me think they're 6 or 7, but I could be terribly wrong. But they're great because they fold up, as you know, the ones in the studio, so this folds up. So if you wanted to get a chair like this, I'm not saying that you have to body search some information, but if you thought, you know what, I want to do some chair stuff, these are really good because they can also like slide into a little, wardrobe or something like that. They don't have to be a full chair. And they're good for outdoors as well. And they're good little outdoor chair. All right, here we go. Bit of pranayama to start us off with. Just letting the breath come slow and steady in and out through the nose here. We want to notice the smoothness of the breath as well. So it's slow, it's smooth and even, so it's the same sort of volume at the beginning as it is at the end. take a full breath in, filling the belly. So we take that breath in so it comes into the bottom or the lower lobes of the lungs. We fill all the way up to the top. And that's how we get that sense of the belly rising, okay, because we've been able to navigate the breath right down into your bottom or your lower lobes of your lungs. When we exhale, really mindful of emptying all of the lungs completely. Like wringing out a sponge to get rid of all of the contents, we do the same here, so that we can then take that following full breath in. You want to notice that the breath isn't forced or strained, so there still is nice softness around the neck, the throat, facial muscles, chest. We start to notice that very obvious rise and fall that comes into the chest and the belly. And then what we'll do is we'll keep that same length, quality to our breathing. We'll just start to bring our awareness back. We'll stay here where we are, but we'll bring the heels onto the chair a little more. So I'm getting us to think about the pelvic curl as we do this. Now, if you wanted to, you could also hold on to, if your arms could reach down there, you could actually hold on to the leg of the chair if you wished. But as we breathe out, we'll do that tilt back and we'll peel slip. Can you see how much higher up we get? It's almost coming up into, say, like a shoulder stand. Breathe in there. And breathe out, slowly curl back down. You don't have to hold on to the legs of the chair. One of the benefits though, so we'll do a few of them. One of the benefits of holding onto the chair though, if you could get to it and it was appropriate, is that it actually helps us keep those shoulders pulling down away from the ears. It reminds us, shall I say, to keep the shoulders pulling down away from the ears. Take another two. So much more chin to chest here because of that elevation of the heels. So more work into the thyroid as well. And when we come back down, what we will do is leave, we don't have to hold on to the legs of the chair, but if they're accessible, go for it. Our little windscreen wiper knees that we do. Okay, so we're just going to let them float to one side. You could probably even pull back a little here. We'll chop back a little. It might be easier on the knees, and then like for the float, and then off to the other side. This might give you more range. You don't want to feel like that the chair's sort of limiting, is probably the best word to use, is limiting your range. Okay. Let's just do one more of our little knee floats, our windscreen wipers. When we head the knees back over to the left, stay there. Take the left foot like we often do on the floor, and then just work it over the right. And see if we can just anchor this guy down a little bit further. And again, there's no hard and fast rules. Find where on the chair, that the heel feels comfy. Okay. I've just moved mine more down towards the left edge so I can get more range. And like we would do this traditionally on the mat, we're just mindful here that we can keep those shoulders on the floor. Roll back through to the center, so uncross. And I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to move my left heel over towards to the right edge of the mat a little bit more, give me more range. That feels better, yeah. So now and then my right leg's weighting it down. I didn't feel like before I felt as though that the chair was in my way and it was limiting my range of the ankle. Now I've got a lot more free range. So you can feel this in that bum, or I can, here in that bum, maybe for a little bit tight down that lateral side of the leg, down through that lateral side of the leg. Then bringing the legs back to center and uncross. Bringing the heels back onto the chair here. I'm going to suggest, I think it will be better for this one, but you can have a little play, that we get fractionally closer to the chair. I'm going to, now your chair's probably may be a little more solid than mine. This one, when I push into it, it's going to go into the wall a little bit, but that's okay. We've got ankle at knee. So my foot's pressing into the front edge of the chair. But you could put it up onto the seat of the chair. So for example, if you think of this one, I really need it closer. Let me see how this goes. Yeah, it's stronger again. This is like when we do this figure four up against the wall. Okay, so you can see how some of my tailbones come up off the floor. And that's giving me a much stronger stretch. I can keep my hips nice and square. I can use my hands to work the leg away. Left knee works away from the body. And my right thigh is pulling in here towards the body. So again, opening up through the left hip as we stay in the stretch. So again, it's great. It's like if we do this with the strap, the beautiful idea of it is that we don't have to use our hands to hold on to anything. So we're really sort of free around the neck and the shoulders as well. Change those little leggies over. We'll do the same here. Lift up. So it's interesting, I'm just observing what's going on here in my little body, and much more challenging for me on my right side than it was, so this side that I'm on now, much more challenging here than it was on my left side, which I probably wouldn't notice as much, I don't feel, if I was just doing this on the floor. Because I can get a little more elevation here of this lumbar really get this nice opening here to the hip. And you know that we often will do this when we're talking about seats or chairs. Often we can do this just sitting in a chair, which is again another great hip stretch. Great hip stretch. What I like about the chair is that we sort of seem to sit in the stretches for a little bit longer too, so we really get good value, we get good time in the stretch. Great, so if we release that, and I'm going to bring us off from where we are, so whatever side feels comfy to roll over, just give me a little roll and we'll come on up. Then we get to come into what I call high child's, where the hands will then sit onto the, I'll just have my jacket off so you can see. Your hands are going to sit onto the seat. And we drop our chest down through those arms. The height of the seat is really quite beneficial compared to, say, when we do high child's just freestyle, or even when we've done it in the strap and block class on Wednesday. That little bit of elevation that we get the hands into is fantastic, but notice the difference here of having even more height, having the hands on the seat. We've got more range to drop down and through, less likely for the arms to bend and buckle as well. But a really great, opener of the front of the shoulder. And naturally, because it's child's pose or a variation on child's, there's this stretch into the lumbar, the lower part of the back as well. As we come out of this, I'll just be pressing my hands down into that seat. It's just going to help me get some leverage to curl back up so I don't sort of load into my back. Stay with the hands on the seat. In this one, it's going to be a pec stretch, so I'm going to put my forearm. I don't have a lot of room for my legs here, but we'll give it a good shot. Forearm, and I'm going to come to the front edge of my seat as opposed to down here into the back edge of my seat. Elbow in line with my shoulder, so this is like what you do on the wall. My left hand's underneath my other shoulder. And I could stay here looking at the floor and with my trunk parallel to the floor, or I could turn away. So that turn away would be me looking around towards the left and trying to turn my chest around there towards the left as well. So I get an awesome opener into that pec, into that chest. Okay, really great if we've been working at that computer and tapping away and the chest gets really tight as the trunk rounds forward. Square the chest back up. And we'll do it on to the other side. Now you can just flip the other way, but just so that you don't see the back of me. I'm just going to move my chair for you. That's the beauty of these little guys, is that they are pretty light. I was going to use the one that I had last time, or even one of my dining chairs, but my dining chairs screech a lot because they've got like rubber ends on them and they're really quite annoying on this tiled floor. But the wooden one, but they're heavy, and these guys, you can lift them up in one hand, there's nothing of them. They're not as stable, obviously, as your dining chair would be, or your decorative chair, but they're certainly light and easy to fling around. As we come out of this one, again, you'll just square your chest back up and press hands into the chair to come back up, or move the chair back towards the wall, because I like it because it is a lot more stable. And come up onto the chair now. And actually no, we're not. We're going to go and take ourselves into crescent of the moon here. So if I'm going to just bring my right leg here a little closer. Take the left leg to lunge forward. I'm going to at this, actually no, sorry, not the wrong leg. Right leg. Same arm, same leg is what I meant to do. Bring this a little up here. I'm going to rest my elbow. So we're lunging into our crescent of the moon pose. This is great because rather than loading into my leg here, I can let my right arm just rest into here. And I can lean into this as much as I feel comfortable. So keep playing around with your chair as to where you feel, yeah, that's good, that I'm being supported. So it's almost like if I was to have my blocks underneath my hands. But I've got I can have a really nice firm hold of the seat of the chair here. Then the left arm is going to go upwards towards the ceiling, towards the sky. So then you can feel how this elongates all through this left channel. Lean from here over to the right, so I'm going to tip over. So that's where this guy is really handy because I can actually sort of butt into here. It's not, my hips aren't wanting to shift out because this right leg is pressing into, so it keeps my hip aligned, and I can get a really strong and very obvious stretch through this left side of the body. I can also square up a bit. So I just felt then that I was twisting to the right. So I'm going to square up a little more because I can see that I wasn't terribly and nicely aligned. And with this big, long left arm here. And then inhaling as we come back up and ease out. Now we're staying as we are. I'm going to move to the chair. I'm pretty sure you will still be able to see me. And she takes out the fireplace. Alrighty, so the chair's going to go in front of us now, and this right leg will straighten. It's what we call Hanuman. Right leg is straight, pull the toes back on that right foot. You can see how my hands are resting on the seat, and I can let my chest fall through the two arms here. We're getting a little bit of shoulder opening with the hands on the seat, but definitely that very obvious hamstring stretch through the right leg. Toes will pull back. And we can also start to draw the right hip back to the back edge of this mat or to the wall behind, wherever we might be, but getting that idea of keeping those hips very square. Sit in it for a couple more breaths. You know, it's really strong opening into the backs of our legs here. Just one more breath here. Now as I come out of this one, again, not pressing my hands down into to the seat of the chair to come up, and then I'll be bending into this right knee to bring myself out. Take the seat or your chair to the left hip now, so I'm going to bring it over here. And I probably need to, see how this can get pretty slippery. So that's where it is really good to have it on your mat. My left leg's out in front. Let's see, we're going to go with me, have a little slide here. We might just do this for this one because it would be a little bit embarrassing if I went for a massive slide, wouldn't it? Alright, that's a bit better. Here we go, crescent of the moon here. Right leg's out the back, left leg's in front, so we've switched those legs. I get to have a nice little rest here, so shoulder and elbow, they're aligned. And I can see myself really square with the wall in front here. And then I can, because I've got that opportunity, I can really, what's the word, sort of play with it a little bit more and try and feel that deeper stretch through here. Then the right arm can go up into the ear. And at that side bend here, off we go out to the left hand side. So again, I can really butt my leg into the seat. Long, long, long extended arm here. Take the breath in and we'll rise back up and out. I can press through this to give me some strength to get back up and out. That Hanuman, move the chair back here in front. Left leg this time. We can still go toes back if we wish. I was just thinking as I was telling you the story about the chairs and where these ones come from. Because you can buy them from like yoga school, like yoga prop schools, but they're really unnecessarily expensive. I went into Kmart a little while ago, it's probably 2 weeks ago now. And there was literally nothing on the shelves. I think I was looking for some glass jars. And the lady said to me, she goes, oh, I don't know. And there wasn't whatever I needed. And I just kept walking through the aisles and there was just nothing on the shelves, and she was directing me to where it was. And she said, oh, there's just nothing left. She goes, because it's all come from China. She said, we've just got no stock at all. She said, but by July, supposedly, our stock levels are going to come back to somewhat of normal. So maybe don't rush if you were thinking of going to go and buy one. Don't rush to Kmart. I guess you could look online and see if they had them, if they were in stock. Because I think you can put in your postcode and it will tell you whether or not your closest store would have them. So we're drawing that left hip back to the wall behind us. Let the chest fall heavy through the arms. So it's a good stretch. And come back. Yeah. And then we will, if your chair's light enough, you can bring it in with you. But we'll bring our chair to go back towards this wall. I only say that because I want to just make sure that it's nice and solid for us. We've got some structure behind it. Now I'm going to give myself enough room only because I've got my step at the back of me. Because we are going to find ourselves into, to come and sit onto this seat. It's a warrior, and how we work the warrior is that we have one foot like we would in our warrior pose. So you can see I'm right at this front edge of the chair. Okay. It's pretty hard. These chairs, unlike obviously dining chairs, they come down on this angle, so I really can't go that much further anyway. But I can see that the inside line of my leg or my trouser is literally parallel to this. Now, I don't have heaps of room at my back, but so I'm just going to working a smidge forward. Yeah. All right, good. It's actually lunge warrior one. And again, the great thing here is that you can check out what's happening to the hips. So I can see that if my hips are like this, pointing towards you, I'm not in warrior one. That starts me more into warrior two. You've got this really great opportunity with your chair to get this alignment of, are my hips square? Are my hips parallel to the wall in front of me? And this back leg, you can really stretch and straighten out. You can feel, like even if you want to hold on to the top of your chair just to get yourself sort of squared around. But that back leg can be super straight, and you can feel a very obvious hip flex stretch, more so, or I feel, more so than I can when I'm in warrior, lunge warrior one. I'm going to call it freestyle. Now, if you're happy with that, let's go eagle arms. Arms are up. I've got my right leg in front. I'm going to wrap my right around my left. Now the emphasis is more on the stretch component of lunge warrior one. So the emphasis is definitely more so on this hip flexor rather than the load into the legs. Yeah, sometimes in warrior one we go, oh my God, my legs are getting really, really tired because we're being propped, we're being supported. So we get the benefits, the beauty, the therapeutics of the pose. Lunge, warrior one. Now we can go to warrior two here by unwrapping the arms. I'm going to then plant that back foot. Okay. We know in lunge, in warrior two, that the trunk then starts to turn. So now my trunk becomes parallel with this front edge of the mat. I'm also mindful what's going to go on with this right foot underneath here. So I'm very mindful here. So often I'll say to you, watch this right knee, and I can see how easy it is for that right knee to flip on in on that diagonal. Really check it out. Is that right knee staying in line with the right hip? Can I twist around towards being parallel and then work those arms? So I have to, for me, I'm working pretty hard here to stop this right knee from collapsing inwards, which is exactly what we try to do in warrior two. So I can feel how I'm having to use my right glute a lot more to do this. We're also going to find the dancing version, so don't let that front right knee collapse, but the right arm will go up, the left arm's running down the back of that leg. Keep dragging that right knee back towards the right for you. Yeah. Keep pressing the little toe and the outer edge of the left foot down into the floor so we don't collapse in on the arches. Who would think that dancing warrior and warrior two, look, I can feel this, I don't know about you, but really deep into my right glute because of how I'm trying to roll this leg out. Good, and then release the arms. Come around and sit on the chair. Oh, that feels better on my right glute. I don't know if it was catching you guys, but it was really working on mine. This is called goddess pose. Sometimes if we're standing, it's called horse pose, but wriggle yourself up right to this edge. You can see I'm right on the edge of the chair and my feet are quite wide. Now they're on a bit of a diagonal. Thighs are on the same angle as what my feet are. I'm going to place the left elbow into the left leg, then run the arm down, but open up my right arm towards the ceiling. You could hold on to the foot or the ankle if you wanted to, or the leg, but it's this, you can see it's this twist. Okay, so my spine and my rib cage is rotating upwards. You don't have to look at that right hand, so if it's uncomfortable, look down at your left arm. But the benefit of this left arm is that it's working the left hip open and it's bringing us into this twist. You could even keep your right hand on your ribs. If you thought, you know what, that arm, it's really heavy and tired, but I want to remind myself I've got to roll or rotate around towards the ceiling, so I will. And I'll just leave my hand here on those ribs. But you should be able to definitely feel this rotation into the rib cage. Bring your right hand onto your thigh if it's not near your ribs, and then come back up. And let's rotate to the other side. It'll be my right arm coming into my right leg. Again, I could hold on to the right leg, and then I'll unravel to the left now. Let's just take 2 more breaths. Good. Hand onto thigh. Good. Help yourself back up and out. Now we have to do our little warrior number on the other side. I'm sure you'll be right if you see this right here. So you'll see the back version, but you know it. Check out. Inner thigh, parallel with this little edge. We've got that leg out the back. Knee over hip, knee over ankle would be what I'm thinking. Get those shoulders back around and square. That means it brings my right hip back around. And press back through the right heel. I can literally just stay here if I wanted to, holding on to the chair to encourage this trunk to rotate around. Or remember we did the eagle arms. This time it would be the left arm wrapping around and elevating. And the eagle arms are literally to give us the opportunity of stretching out across the upper back. Keep pressing back through your right heel. Release the arms down as we go to warrior two. Pivot, plant that back right foot. Make sure that we're here into this, watching that this left knee doesn't roll in. Okay, so really actively working that left knee back in line with the left hip. Then bringing the trunk, it's got to rotate because it runs parallel to the long edge of the mat. Little toe on our right foot's pressing down so I don't collapse in on either of the arches. I keep reminding myself of what's going on in this left leg, that it's not rolling inwards. Long arms, reach out through the fingers, drop down through the shoulders. This back leg, watch it doesn't want to collapse because I can feel gravity pressing into the back of my knee. I have to remind myself it's a strong leg. And if you look down that front left arm, which is where we should look for warrior two, it allows us to keep looking at what's going on or tracking with this left knee. Tip back here. Right hand runs down the back of the leg, and there's our dancing version of this. Again, really conscious of the left knee, staying tracked over the left ankle. Release the left hand when you're ready, back onto that left thigh, and we'll spin and come back around to face the center. So they're all relative, like I could feel definitely there's a lot stronger stretches, real opening into these hips for the warrior, a little more so than normal. Hands are going to rest onto the thighs, but at the same time, they're going to imagine that they're pushing the thighs away from us. So as we go into cat, breathe out, press away, curl. And then inhale, pull in, pull the hands in towards you. And that's our cow version. Press away on the exhale. Draw the belly in around the spine. Pull the hands in as we take it the other way. Exhale. Round back, press the knees away. Inhale. Exhale. Push away, exhale. Here's your last one. Inhale, pull the legs in. Chest lifts. It's almost like using your triceps here. You can feel your triceps working as you pull the arms in as they would. Good, and then just grab. When we take that same action in up dog, the hands are down, and I say pull the hands or the armpits towards you, and that will definitely activate the use of the triceps. Take the left leg, cross it over the right leg. A fairly simple twist. You could be deeper in your chair if you wanted to be in this one. Right hand onto the left knee, okay. And then the left hand onto your hip, and just this gentle, subtle rotation, twisting. Inhale, unravel, switch the legs, left's on the floor, right jumps over. Left hand on the right knee, right hand on the right hip. Here's our twist. And then breathing, come out of the twist. 2 feet flat onto the floor. Bring your chest onto your thighs. And then just round forward. So a nice sort of stretch. This is just preliminary stuff. It's all warming up, kind of lower back stretching. Just let the head just dangle. So you're pretty much sort of looking down either at your mat or sort of even the gaze going through the chair here. So chest to thigh. And then coming back up on the inhale, like a little rag doll, I want you to roll up. So don't just jam up through that lower back and pull up with a straight back. Come up softly and gently. We're going to go and take a twist this time around to the left again, but not crossing the legs. And we'll use the hands now to grab hold of, I'll go this way, but just so you can see, my hands are coming around to hold on to the edge of the chair. I'm watching that my knees don't spin with me, so I'm going to try and stay square with these guys. Okay. But my hands onto the chair is giving me much more leverage than I had with my hand on my knee. And I'm really getting that sort of deeper pull and hence a deeper twist. Really watching that these legs don't want to go with me. And then gently releasing. And take that same twist around to the other side. I notice that there's a very slight sort of shift of the hips, but you don't want the knees going. You don't want to be going and letting your knees go with you, because then you'll feel that you're not in a twist any longer. So you do need a stable base through these hips. Come out slowly as you breathe in. It's almost like you sort of unspiral back out. We'll come back through the front again, but check out the legs now. They're much wider. So as we come through, the belly can come through and we can drop and hang and dangle here. Now in saying that, you might be able to grab hold of the legs of the chair and pull or tuck yourself even further under. It's a much deeper stretch by pulling and sending the body underneath here. So you can feel how it's much stronger in that lower back. Bring the hands gradually back onto the floor. Remember the rag doll as we come back up. So chin stays into the chest. And we unravel slowly. We become upright. We're going to walk the legs in. Take the legs out long here. And breathing. So I'm more towards the front of my chair than the back. And then breathe out, come forward and over. Now this is where you want the chair into the wall kind of thing, because if you come forward and you're on this front end, you can be sort of guaranteed almost that it's going to spread out from underneath you. So if you had blocks, you could always have your hands onto your blocks. Again, anywhere that we don't want to strain. You could go feet down. You'll notice that when you go foot down on the floor as opposed to toes back, that's where we get this opening and stretch over the forefoot. So a great hamstring stretch, a great front foot stretch, and a nice little release and opening into the lower back. Even the neck gets a bit of a stretch here. You could even do a little, how we bring the hands over the head and sort of give it a little, if you wanted to here. And take the hands, just walk them back in. Don't push onto the kneecaps because they're little joints are sensitive. We don't tend to push into them and then curl back up nice. And then we're going to sit back into this chair a little bit more. So like I'm really slouching here. You can see that I'm on like this angle, almost like I was on, say, plane pose. Then bring the left knee in to the chest. Now, you could even slide back a little bit more. And it's starting to pull and lengthen through that lower part of the back as well. We'll place the foot onto the thigh here. So my left foot is going to rest onto my right thigh. We're thinking like we're lying on the floor. Hold onto the chair with your left hand and just roll the knee across the body. And you're quite stable here, so you can play a little more with it if you want to. But keeping that sort of groundedness with that left hand, because that's keeping some weight down there on that left hand side. If you'd like to rotate the head, like we often do lying on the floor, you could be rotating the neck to look left. That foot doesn't necessarily then also have to be on here. So if it's okay out here in space, you can do that. As we roll back, it can come back to center, and then roll this left leg back in and through. Let's switch to the other side. So a left long, and that right knee's in to the chest. So again, you can see the value of having the chair up against the wall. It's got nowhere to go. Left hand comes to that leg. We're rolling across. Got hold here of that right edge of the chair. Roll the leg again. It can rest here if you want to, or it can sort of head out there to the side. Rolling across, looking to the right on this one. Bring the head slowly back into the center, rolling the knee back in and through, popping the foot back on, walk those legs in, and then just slide, good. Your way back into the chair. We are back sitting more towards the front edge of the mat here. Let's do some neck stretches. chin to chest. Actually, you know what we might do? Let's go wide with the legs again, because I think this might be a nicer way of being able to do it. We come through the front again, and then put our hands over the back of the head. Okay, so like that sort of crash tackle sort of position. And then using the hands, just pull and open up the back of the neck. Release the hands. Remember the ragdoll on the way back up. Soft shoulders. Eventually the head will come up. Walk the feet in. A lateral tilt. Left ear, left shoulder. So we're tilting down to the left shoulder. My right hand now is going to grab hold of the leg of the chair. Could be at the back, or it could be underneath here. If it is underneath, you're going to probably need to wriggle off to the left edge of the mat more. Chair. Okay. Or you can go and work to the back. It depends on it really depends on your style of chair. But either way, we're holding on to something out here on this right hand side to encourage the right shoulder to stay down. So we're really depressing the right shoulder as we tip out to the left. Use your left hand if you wish, just to add a bit more stretch. So it's neck, but it's also over these traps as well. Trapezius. Release the left hand. Good. Just relax that right arm. And very slowly draw the head back to the center. Then we'll go the other way. Just take your time as you tip out to the right. Left hand's going to grab that chair. Right hand will come over with that very subtle weighting down of the ear towards the shoulder. Release the right hand. Relax the grip of the left leg. Very slowly bring the head back to center. Now, we get to head back down towards the floor for our last sort of 5 minutes of Shavasana. You could, and you probably want to, get your little jackies on. You could do back to instant Maui, where we had the legs through here. Alternatively, and both are great, you could turn the chair the other way. This is where these chairs are good, and I'm not promoting the way to do it, but you can spread your legs through here as well, which is a bonus because you can get through both sides, because not all dining chairs have empty backs. The legs could go up onto this. So if I didn't want to do instant Maui, which would be, say, here, I could do legs up here, more of an angle. Your choice. Not that it means anything to you, but my personal choice, after what I'm feeling here, is when I can thread my feet through and I can actually get my feet into the wall. There's this really beautiful sense of groundedness. Okay, the feet pressing into the wall. This is one thing that we do a lot of work with in restorative, is trying to close the circle of like that circle, keep the circle of energy in the body and close it down here, say through the feet, because that would be open. Yep. So now it's closed, and that just has a very grounding effect to the body. Another nice thing in these kind of poses, if you want to have your bolster close by, because this is very much a restorative, having a very gentle amount of weight here. So I could even bring my bolster if I wanted to. And weight it over my belly. We are here, ready for all of those really deep, rich stretches, now nourishing the body in rest and reboot, recharge time. Reconnecting in with the slow, steady breath. Long, full breaths in. And the same long, extended breaths out. Noticing the body letting go. Muscles softening. Body relaxing. Heartbeat slowing down with us now. The nervous system really settling. And as we just take a moment to bring our awareness back here, just sense that ability to move the feet, the hands, fingers. We get to roll over and rest on any side. Come on up when you're ready. You can make that a nice, slow, smooth transition as you do. And we'll meet with our hands to the heart. We honour our practice. We honour ourselves. We finish together with Namaste. Namaste. Chair yoga. Done for Saturday. Enjoy this beautiful day that sits in front of us. I hope you enjoyed your chair yoga. It was quite stretchy. It was a nice way, I think, to finish the week. It felt quite delicious to me. It was just quite rejuvenating and nourishing as well. So I hope you felt the same. It was a nice little sort of stretch out and a nice way to finish off maybe a tough week. Another week down and done. Tomorrow is officially winter, so the winter solstice says. So enjoy the shortest day of we're at our darkest. And it's going to get lighter from here. How nice is that? I'm looking forward to the light. It's getting dark in the mornings. So have a beautiful weekend, everyone. Take care. I think I'm gonna take my family out for a little bushwalk this afternoon. So get back into nature again, because the rain's supposed to come late this afternoon and into tomorrow. So it might be a nice in-day tomorrow. Take care, enjoy your weekend, and I will see some people on Monday at meditation.